Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. It's Aly Kat here, and on today's video we're going to be taking a closer look into Season 2 of Tekken 8. Now, as mentioned in my previous video where I was looking at the Anna Williams gameplay in the reveal trailer, I did mention that since the start of Season 2, which is literally only like last week, we've ran into some issues already with the community and the developers, and we're going to go through all of that as quickly as possible, just to give you like a bit of a high-level overview. And then I will be getting into my own personal thoughts at the end, what I think about Season 2, because I've only played it like for a little bit. I've given like Tekken 8 a bit of a break for like a couple of months, but I'm back on it now, and I will give you my thoughts towards the end. Alright, so what we're going to do is go back to some key points from last year and bring us up to speed. So, last year the game came out in January, okay? And end of the year we had the Game Awards in December. Tekken 8 won the category for Best Fighting Game. Okay, so right after the announcement, and you had Hadara and Michael Murray, of course, that were there and picking up the award and everything. There was the Clive Rosfield reveal trailer for like the final DLC character for Season 1. So some people were sort of hit and miss about Clive. Some people didn't like Clive, some people loved Clive. But Clive was here, another Final Fantasy character back in the Tekken world. You got to remember, like before that, there was an issue with Hayachi and, of course, the people that have paid for the Season 1 pass for Year 1. And, of course, like, they were charging for the Jinmaji Temple stage. So, let's go back before this. So Tekken 8 won the Game Awards for Best Fighting Game. Okay, so it looked like things were looking quite up for the game. Alright, so we're looking here on the subreddit for Tekken. Okay, so on this one the subject is Tekken 8 Sins. Alright, so as I was saying before you get to the problems of Season 2, you've got to go through what happened in Season 1 and see if there's some kind of pattern. Alright, so it says like pre-release. Apparent graphical downgrade from initial trailer. Alright. Too many effects on moves. Hard to see compared to previous games. Weird Avatar campaign trailer that looks tacked on last minute. Steve's face pulls hair. Azika's neck. Alright, so that's a few things that they've mentioned. This is like before the game was released, so I guess this is like going off what footage was shown like on the trailers. I do remember they were talking about Steve's face, and I did mention about that as well, like some time ago. Alright, so on the game's release, this is like some general comments here, right? So it says, nerfed backdash, greatly buffed hitboxes to the point of ghost hitboxes, safe power crush heat engages. Jun is in story and placed in roster for not much reason, more likely to just generate hype. Newcomer Reina has unexpectedly unimportant place in the story. Okay, so as you can see, like this varies between actual like gameplay like problems with like movesets, and then just like general, I guess, like nitpicking with like the story and everything like that. But as you can see, there's quite a few things down here, right? And so like, you know, look at this one, like delayed implementation of microtransactions and Fight Pass months after game release for better reviews. And it's just stuff like this. Now, you got to remember, like, as I've mentioned before, my first Tekken game was Tekken 7, and I got it, like, when it was on offer. I think it was, like, 80% off or something. So I got it, like, towards the end of, like, Tekken 7's, like, lifespan. But I did manage to get it, and it was, like, my first Tekken game. So, like, you know, I come from a Virtua background. So I was able to, like, actually enjoy this, like, you know, this Bandai Namco game, which I previously was not privy to playing. And I really enjoyed it, like, for the most part. So in Tekken 7, I was playing Eliza and also Lydia. So I was going between like those two characters. And then just towards the end, I picked up Zafina. So when Tekken 8 came out, as I mentioned before, like, there was no sight of Lydia then, and there was no sight of Eliza. There was just Zafina. But when I was playing, like, Zafina in Tekken 7, I couldn't quite understand how her moveset was. I just kind of liked the character, I suppose. So there was that going on too. So I kind of like sat down and I went through like the training and everything, and I sort of sat down and really learnt like how to do like some of the moves. Like I'm not like the greatest player, I'm a casual player at best, right? But I've been playing fighting games since like Virtua Fighter Remix and everything, so you know, I've been about a bit. But anyway, so I was able to like relearn Zafina like from scratch, and some people are saying how different she was from 7, and as I was saying, like with me, with like Tekken 7, like personally, I didn't play that much in it, but I knew some of the things, but it was only like Tekken 8 where things started to like come together, as in like, I remembered what I was doing, I could pull off the moves and some of the combos like quite efficiently. I wasn't really dropping combos, and I got to the point where I was comfortable like playing, you know, a bit more of a sort of obscure character. Now, I was having some other issues with like season 1 as well. I did think ranked overall was a bit too, I want to say like, it was quite sweaty. I kind of felt like if you got a mix of like people who were DCing, you had cheaters in there, and I feel like as well, like I don't know, like people that are smurfing or anything, but I found like ranked like quite a sluggish experience. I managed to get to Fujin, and you can watch that video over there if you want. I always found it like towards the end of it, I was streaming on Twitch as well, and I found that I was having a better time playing casuals, and then I was playing ranked like off stream because it was a bit too stressful, and that's where I was at with I guess season 1 with like Zafina towards the end of it. Alright, so as you can see here, right, just going back to this, so they've mentioned quite a few things about what's wrong with like season 1. Okay, so I'm going to put a link to all of these as well in the description. So, and just little things like this one, like no infinite rematching until well after launch. Okay, so that got introduced that later on. Okay, so right, so there's another one like, all right, so on this one, it's a brand new Tekken player. Big shout out to Veggie. Why is Tekken 8 considered bad or lacking? Okay, it's a genuine question from a newcomer, right? It's like 6 months ago, right? And so they said, hey look, I'm a newish Tekken player, and I constantly hear that 8 is lacking compared to other entries. I'd like to understand the sentiment. So I think that's a fairly reasonable question. I can't believe it's got no likes, like these people are brutal. Anyway, so this is what I liked about this one, because someone just like broke it down, and let's see if we can find it. It's like quite a good response. Okay, so I like this one here, right? So the response is from Pretty Good Mood. Okay, so like 2 months ago that replied back said, look, at this point the whole combat mechanic stuff and armor is not even my main issue anymore like it was with T7. It still sucks, but the worst offender is the nerfed backdash. If they brought the backdash back to Tekken 7 standards, which was okay, it would probably fix a lot for me personally, being able to make whiffs happen more often. But more importantly, there are 50/50s that weren't considered good before or gimmicky, because you could backdash out of it. Yoshi FC DF1, for example, the low unblockable launcher after a heat engage, you cannot just backdash out of it with a lot of the cast. Alyssa can do it, for example. With Lee, I need a KBD very perfectly to not get hit, which means a hop kick can hit you out of the down/down back input. Horrible situation there compared to before. Alright, so let's just give an example of specifics about like Lee, about backdashing, and they've mentioned about Alyssa and Yoshi as well. So you can tell that like from someone who used to play 7, and so in season 1 they were only really wanting like the backdash to be like fixed sort of thing. Here's another one, like, so, you know, there's no Anna. Well, Anna's in there now, but she wasn't like base roster. Like a lot of them weren't base roster, and a lot of them weren't base roster in like number 7 as well. You could argue with the launch of Tekken 8 that they would have got that right. They should have had like, you know, from the fans what the most popular characters were. They should have had like the stats from like the previous games as to who's like more popular characters and everything. So, you know, anyway, so move on to this one as well. So I thought that was just quite interesting. This was like, you know, a genuine new person to the game 6 months ago was asking why is it considered bad. All right, so let's go back to this one as well. Like, this was like another one 6 months ago. Like from the beginning of the game, I felt like people saying that they didn't like the 50-50 casino thing. Right, so it's just like when you get into a fight and it's whether or not someone engages heat first, and when they do it, by the time you engage heat, it puts you in a very advantageous situation, and then you just need to do like a mix-up, and it's like pretty much like GG's. And I've witnessed that as well. It's almost like there's no button to say like it's like you can't press a button that says like get off me sort of thing. There isn't anything like that. So we talk about the fact that the community started to be more vocal about what they didn't like about Tekken 8 like last year, and it was the controversy behind the Hayachi DLC, not the character himself, even though they said that he was a bit broken, but more so it was Hayachi's stage, because Hayachi's stage you had to pay for. Now everyone who bought like the more like deluxe and like the gold versions of the year pass for Tekken 8 was on the understanding that the stage would just come with him as part of the character. And to be honest, like I thought that too, because I bought that as well, like the deluxe one, and I thought that it was going to come with Hayachi and the stage as well, but it didn't. And so like people really kicked off about it. Now I think this is about the time when they started review bombing on Steam. People had been quite vocal about it. Also, people were jumping on Twitter, people were jumping on Reddit, and they were just like voicing their opinions. But I think the difference is like a lot of the community were actually saying the same thing, like they were annoyed. And so I think it got fed back to the powers that be at Bamco, and they redeemed everybody some free like Tekken coins to say like sorry. But what they did is they just said, well look, here's like $5, it's like £5 basically, like that you can have for free to spend in game. I mean, I still bought the stage anyway. It's not like they sent it out to everybody. You still had to pay for it. So since then, they have announced things, whether or not it's part of the bundle or not. So whether or not it's free or you have to pay for it. So it was like a clear distinction now. And you've seen that as well in like season 2. They've clearly stated what's going to happen. It's either going to be a stage, or it's going to be like part of the bundle, or a character's going to be part of it, or whatever. They've sort of mentioned it now. So this was one of the first times I was like acknowledging the sort of backlash about it, and the sort of, it was very controversial at the time. So anyway, and also Hayachi was supposed to be dead, but I guess not. Alright, so this is one of the things. So this happened like 6 months ago, and then we've got like towards the end of the year, like, okay, so who's going to be like the last DLC character? And then, but before the last DLC character was announced, people were actually, I think, okay with the game, or at least a bit better anyway. Like, everyone got a little sweetener for the mess up with the stage and everything. And okay, so all this excitement about who's going to be the last character. Clive Rosfield revealed trailer for like the final DLC character for season 1, and some people like really hit and miss about it. And you want to hear my opinions on Clive Rosfield, you're more than welcome to watch the video. I'll put it in the description again. But yeah, so some people were really disappointed about it, and they voiced their opinions as well on the comments on Steam. Alright, so let's move on to end of last year, when they announced that they're going to be season 2 is going to happen in the springtime. Okay, so the thing is, you got to remember they had the TWT finals at the end of December, and then there were quite a few other like important competitions happening, which I think they wanted to do all of those things before they announced like season 2, but before it dropped. Alright, so let's move on to the actual patch notes for like season 2. So I'm not going to go through all of this, but again, it's on the official Bandai Namco website. Alright, so I will put a link in the description if you've not seen it yet. Short version is that Anna got introduced to the game. Each character is going to get new moves. There's going to be a major balance change, and there's going to be a new set of characters announced for season 2. Alright, so let's have a look. So they've got like downloaded replays and my replays and tips. Okay, so replay data from before the update will no longer be playable. So basically you've lost all like the data. Okay, so online replay, all replay data from before the update will be deleted. Okay, right, Super Ghost Battle, the behaviour and performance of characters after the update will reflect in ghost data. There'll be no loss of data. Okay, that's cool. Alright, so the Venance Anna Williams should be playable. So some people who ordered it before, like in pre-order, they were able to play it. Able to play from like 31st of March. Alright, so 72 hours access, anything else? Alright, so you got Season 2 Ultimate Edition, and then you got Season 2 Deluxe Edition. Alright, so it mentions about that you get free 100 Tekken coins, alright, when you complete the missions. And they've added the avatar skin and things like that, right? So you can get special artwork through the obtaining character panels. That's a pretty cool function. They've made adjustments to Tekken Ball and ranked one. This is probably like the most important one. So the matching has been changed so that players can battle others with a closer skill level. I did notice sometimes I was Fujin, and what can I tell you, it was absolutely hell. It's a really interesting tweet, and I've just got that up on the screen at the moment, right? And it gives you the stats for the end of Season 1. And Fujin was literally like the most stacked rank in the whole of Tekken 8. And you know what? I can believe it. And this is why I was saying, like, when I was going in for matches, it was so sweaty. It was like people were playing for like the final tournament points for like TWT or something. It was absolutely crazy. So I don't know like any other game like it. Like usually it's a bit more chilled, but I think that's a good addition for ranked, making it so it's like closer with like the matchmaking. And for some reason I was like being offered matches in like Korea and Russia. I don't know why. I don't know why sometimes, like with this game, I've always wondered, like one of my pet peeves about it was, why couldn't you just like do it so like just UK only, you know, just in England only, and that's it. Like I don't really want to fight anyone in Europe so much, because the connection is sometimes questionable as it is. Even though it's got rollback netcode, like sometimes the connection isn't like the smoothest. So like I want to be able to like fight people who are like closer, if that makes sense. Let's just go through like the main meat of it, which is like this one. Okay, so this is here, like playable characters, move behaviours, fixes and balance adjustments. And so they go into such detail now about what happens with each of the characters. In general, these are like the common things like heat engages, key charges. They did have an initial one about chip damage, but they kind of like went back on it after they got some backlash. But yeah, so as you can see, it's quite detailed. You've got to remember, like someone's gonna like actually like type this up. It's like someone's job to type this up, like it's crazy. Alright, all these characters, right? So when they were doing the Season 2 like preview and everything, and it was like quite a cool show, that one. And I was like, okay, so which characters have got like new moves then? I thought, right, there's Zafina, I mean Zafina in this. So let's have a look. And of course, like, they were talking about Azazel's power, and she's got like an enhanced state. Okay, Anthamina is it, I think it's called. So they were talking about that, right? And then I was like, okay, so I was watching it at the time, and then I was like, sometimes I don't really know what moves they're talking about. So it's only when I actually went into the game, like pretty much like today, to have a look to see like what's changed with it. Now, as I was saying to you, look at all these changes. It's a lot of changes. It is so much changes. It's like, because I come from a background of just about learning how to do some of the moves, right? And then we get Season 2, and now I've got to like digest all of this and try and make it make sense. Alright, so I've got some footage now, so I'm just going to show you like what I noticed like the biggest differences, and I tell you why it will affect my gameplay and it will take some time to get used to, is that sometimes I was used to, when she was in heat, pressing certain buttons to activate certain techniques to get me out of a scrape, and now they've kind of moved things around, so like I have to use different buttons. So in my head, I've literally like conditioned myself to do like certain motions, and like for heat engages and combos and things, and so now I'm going to have to like rethink it and slow down. So I was playing ranked for about maybe like a good half an hour or so, and I was dropping combos. I found it quite difficult overall, and it's going to take some time to get used to. I do actually like wish that they could just roll it back to what it was before, because at least, just selfishly, at least I could play the game like better. The actual new Zafina move looks quite cool, but if you were to give me a choice, I think I prefer just like season 1. Honestly, like it's quite a cool looking power in that, but I don't know. Maybe that would need like a rethink. Okay, so Tekken 8's recent reviews on Steam are now overwhelmingly negative. Okay, so look at this now. Before we got to these changes, it was actually positive, right? It was positive, like mixed. So it was like mostly positive. So like before the Hayachi thing, it was like positive. All right. After the Hayachi thing and the whole like you have to pay for the stage, it wasn't included, and then it was negative. All right. And then they reimbursed people. They fixed it with like Tekken coins, and then it went back to positive. And then Clive came out, and then some people didn't like that because they wanted Tifa or whatever, and so like it sort of came down a little bit, and then like it sort of just like evened out. All right. So it wasn't bad. And then of course you've got season 2 dropping now, and you've just got overwhelmingly negative, which doesn't look good, does it? Alright, so I've been moving on now to this last one. We've got Tekken 7 player count hits 4 digits on Steam. So people are actually going back to that Tekken 7. They just like, I've had enough. It's crazy. Alright. There's something I want to point out, and just look at all this. Like, there's just loads of like, I mean, Reddit's like this anyway, but like, you've got a lot of people that are just like so frustrated like with this game at the moment. But I'm finding it's a lot in some of the other fighting game communities. So you got people who play Street Fighter 6 affected as well, because they're like, well, where's like season 3? Where's Elena? What's happening? And you know, when they're going to take out all these throw loops and all that kind of stuff. And then you've got Fatal Fury in beta, like City of the Wolves. I do love that game, but you've got all these like celebrity characters introduced to the game without some of the original roster from Garo. Mark of the Wolves, people are just not happy. It's like 3 different fighting games, like, you know, 3 like flagship fighting games, and people are just like, they're not pleased about it. Alright, I wanted to point to a thread. Let's see if I can find it. Right, look at this one. My baby didn't deserve to be released in this current state of the game. So she's saying like, hello lovely boys, I'm back. And then like people are like, oh please look at me, and like they're not interested because like they're like sort of moving on. Is it as bad as people make out? It's pretty bad. I'm not even gonna lie to you. And also, just give my personal experience, like I've played the game for like half an hour, right? And I already find it very difficult to like play the game, like compared to like what I used to. And I'm just like someone who plays like fighting games for fun, you know, on stream or off stream, like it's for casuals. And even I'm having a difficult time. So apparently, like they were saying that like a lot of the changes was to like accommodate the casual audience. Not me. I don't know who else who can fit into that wide umbrella, but no, I'm casual and I do like the game, but I find it quite difficult. But yeah, so I just want to bring your attention to this one. So PhiDX, if you don't know him, he basically is a pro Tekken player, and also he's a great content creator, and he pretty much covers a lot of like Tekken 8 since like the launch. So he's been there like a lot. We've got great content, some guides and everything, spoken to a lot of the people involved in the community, like the players, like developers and so forth. So this is what he says about it. We were so close to really fire Tekken after TWT ended. The pros started showing tons of counterplay and creative solutions. At the STL finals, Ni used Snake Edge to beat Yoshimitsu Bad Breath at Korea versus Pakistan, which was awesome, by the way. We saw tons of heat bursts get sidestepped and launched. And who can forget how hype Newman versus Edge was at TWT 2024? Alright, a few nerfs to the homing strings, the tracking heat bursts and the chip damage would have put the game in an amazing state. For new moves, the heat smash adjustments I genuinely enjoy a lot. The heat smashes reintroduced as meta moves are genuinely not my favourite, including Lily's and Steve's, but these weakness cover-ups and do everything moves feels like a modded game, not a mainline title update. At the end of season 1, I was logging on every day to draw Tekken and rewire myself to learn to attack better. I was running long sets with my friends, streaming to entertain and educate, and always looking forward to logging on again. Now I have to decide if the new version of Tekken is worth completely rewriting again for. The new rank system is really cool to me, but the gameplay required to climb it personally is not for me. I was on a battle high of reading and studying the patch while trying to make balanced, level-headed content about it. Now that I'm coming down from it, morale is pretty low. I don't think my opinion holds much weight to the development team, but I wouldn't have made nearly daily videos this whole year if I didn't love Tekken. I wanted to share and teach what makes this series so special. I don't know if I will have the passion for that in this new direction. Please revert the patch. It's absolutely crazy. Like, this is like someone who's like a dedicated content creator for like Tekken 8, and also as entered lots of competitions with like Noctis and like T7. He's like a real professional. And for him to say that is like heartbreaking. It's crazy. Alright, so here's another thing which was kind of like quite frustrating, is that like I kind of get the feeling that like this kind of community and a lot of the FGC as well, they do like to complain a lot, but sometimes it is justified. But the problem is like there's been so many instances where people have just complained about not that much, in my opinion, and then other things people kind of have the right to complain about. But if you've sort of been following this community, right, it's like every single thing that happens, people complain. People complained about Hayachi, people complained about Clive, people complained about the stages, people complained about heat, like even characters like Yoshi, people complained about Yoshi like for the whole like last year, like Dragunov was like a very popular one, and some of it is justified, and others I just think just people just like to complain. But what I do think is that people are not very nice these days, and they're taking out their frustrations on a game to the actual development team like Hadara and Co. and Michael Murray, and I just think like sending the developers abusive comments. Okay, I'm not going to go into like too much detail, but like I've just seen some absolute horrible things that people have said to them, whether or not it's in jest or not. Like, I don't like seeing that stuff on my timeline, and I don't condone that at all. And as I said to you before, like this channel is not for that. You'll find just some personal like constructive criticism about things that I want to talk about it, but you find like I will tend to keep my cool. If you want to go for the other stuff, there's plenty of channels like that, but this one isn't. I'm just giving you like my opinion about it. Alright, so yeah, so I don't think that was a good look. It doesn't make the community look good, it makes him look quite juvenile. And I think like, as much as I love fighting games, I'm not really about just like sending abuse to people. It's just, that's like too much. And maybe some of these people just need to like just get a bit of a life and just go outside and touch grass and that. But it's just like, you know, I love gaming as well, but I can just drop it like that if I had to. There's other things to do. So I do think people could be a bit nicer, just because they're frustrated about the state of the game. The other thing to consider is like, there's also, and this might seem like a really like bizarre concept, but there are other fighting games too. Like, unfortunately I can't play them all. I spread myself like quite thin, but Soul Calibur 6, Dead or Alive 6, you got Virtua Fighter 5 Revo. There's just like a few of the games I've been playing, like Fatal Fury a lot. City of the Wolves, like the open beta. You've still got, like, you know, Kingdom Fighters 15. There's loads of games that are at the moment that you can play. And so, like, if you do like fighting games in general, maybe, you know, if you got so frustrated about Tekken 8, maybe this is time for you to, like, diversify and start playing a new game, or maybe go back to an old one and try and get some excitement back, because sometimes you can't rely on one game to give you everything that you need. I'm very fortunate because I do enjoy lots of fighting games. I like fighting games, like, full stop. As long as it's well put together and everything, like, I just love it. And that's great. But some people aren't like that. Some people are just like, they only want to play Tekken and that's it. They only want to play one particular game and that's it. So I do feel sorry for those people if they're disappointed with, like, the current state of Season 2. I do think it will get fixed, but I can't see them doing a massive revert, because it's like, well, what would be the point in that? Like, so I think they'll do little changes and try and get it right. So who knows, maybe by Season 3, like, things could have been, like, properly fixed. You got something like very smooth running where everyone's happy. I think with a lot of these things, when these games come out, it does take some push and pull to get things right. But one thing that I find quite interesting is that, like, who makes the decisions? Who makes the decisions when it comes to, like, public liaison, and when it comes to getting, like, general opinion of, like, people who play the game? I think that's for another video. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my debunking of Season 2, and I hope I tried to explain it in a way which is kind of like non-judgmental, I'd like to think, but something maybe from a different angle, seeing what other people are saying about it. But what do you think about Season 2 and Tekken 8? What do you think about fighting games in general? Do you think it's a good spot to be in right now, or do you think it's a bit frustrating? Let me know, that'd be absolutely awesome. Okay, but thanks a lot for your support as always, and I'll see you again in the next video. Thanks so much.